Welcome back to our PCM 25 career mode. Starting March, I think it's fair to say that our team had a pretty solid season so far. Lots of victories, but actually no wins in World Tour races. But as you can see, today's video is all about World Tour racing, starting off with Strade Bianche, Paris-Nice, and then Tirreno Adriatico, so an opportunity to get that World Tour win. Anyway, time to jump into our first race, Strade Bianche. This one's gonna be pretty difficult because Tadej Pogacar is here. Also Mathieu van der Poel and Remco Evenepoel, so against the big guns. I feel like in Pro Cycling Manager, the hill stat is more important than the cobble stat on this parkour, so I'm not sure Samuel Watson is the perfect rider for this. Then again, Perikas with 62 cobble stat is probably gonna be worse. Anyway, I guess we'll find out in the race. Okay, Watson with a +1 on the day, so 77 hill stat and 78 cobble. That's pretty fantastic. Omerzel with a +2, 77 hill stat as well, but 74 cobble, so I think Watson is our leader. It looks like the tempo in the peloton has dropped, so there comes an attack by Jakob Omerzel. We've got Tizak joining as well, and some other riders also trying to get into the breakaway. Sending our second best rider up the road is definitely a bit risky, but I want someone up there, you know? Gotta say, I do love Strade Bianche. The sandy roads, so beautiful, but also a very fun race to ride. We've got Omerzel in a break of 8 riders, but does not look like the strongest breakaway. Only a gap of 3 minutes 40 on the peloton where we've got multiple teams chasing, so I think this break is doomed. In real life, the race usually opens up in the sector you can see in the middle here, which is the Monte Santi Marie, but oh, Samuel Watson puncture. Ay, let's see how far he's back. He's still in the peloton, so that's okay. Anyway, my goal was getting Omerzel up the road before his next sector, so that has succeeded. The question is, will the race open up in the peloton now? I guess we're about to find out because this is the start of the Monte Santi Maria and the peloton is speeding up. On the sector, Omerzel has been caught. He's now protecting Watson. The rest of my team is literally falling apart rider by rider, but Watson is still here. Ay, more and more splits in the peloton. We've got a peloton of 15 riders left. That's it. Watson is still here, but has barely any energy, and Pogacar and Van der Poel look unbeatable. But hey, I said I was hoping for a top 10, and right now, there's only 10 riders up the road. My plan is quite literally to do nothing in this group, and hope to survive as long as possible. Once again, onto the wide roads, still in the group, and my energy is a little bit better looking, but still won a pretty passive race from this point onwards, so Pogacar and Van der Poel, please don't attack.
12 seconds later.
Oh snap, there's a move by Tadej Pogacar. I don't feel like that's my thing to respond to. I think I need to stay in this second group and try and fight it out against these guys. Because let's be honest, Watson ain't winning this race. Herman's off the back, so that's one competitor gone, but I am suffering. No yellow bar. And there comes another move. Van der Poel goes. We've got Pogacar. We're now with Germani, which that's not perfect. I think this is our moment that we're getting dropped. Yeah, 40 kilometers to go, completely out of energy, so this is not looking too good. The one thing I am scared about is that we do have a group of 14 riders roughly a minute and a half behind, so I really don't want to get caught. In the last 20k, quite a bit of gravel left to come, and of course the last steep climb into Siena, and the gap towards the group behind me is a minute only now, so I think I'm getting caught, damn it. Yeah, the gap is down to 20 seconds, so I think I'll wait on the group behind and try and get some red bar back to hopefully compete for the top 10 against these guys. We've actually got a dream fight for the victory at the front of the race. Pogacar versus Mathieu van der Poel in a massive 1v1. In the last 2.8 kilometers, they're about to turn into Siena onto the steep climb. Van der Poel attacks, Pogacar is in the wheel. Onto the steep section, Pogacar still in the wheel. Van der Poel did go early and Pogacar is coming past. Van der Poel is getting dropped. Tadej Pogacar is winning Strade Bianche. There he goes! I'm also going into the last 2.7 kilometers now. We've got a bit of yellow bar now, so let's try to move forward before the climb starts, get into a good position. 1.7 kilometers to go, let's do 92, 93. We can't go too early. Oh, that's a rock. And let's go right now with Watson, but top 10 is not happening. We're getting destroyed here. It's Zana and so forth, and Fiorelli getting a top 10 here, the new signing for Visma, but that is quite disappointing. I was really hoping for that top 10. Like, that was a really fun race to ride, but 22nd place, that is so disappointing. Hopefully our next race goes a bit better. And of course, that race is Paris-Nice, 8-day stage race in France, starting off with 2 sprint stages, followed by a 13-kilometer flat time trial, a medium mountain stage, another sprint, and a versatile sprint after. Then the Queen stage to the only proper mountain finish, La Comian, followed by actually not the usual last stage. We've got 90k only, and it kinda looks like a versatile sprint. By the way, on the start list, you know that this yellow icon means that a certain rider is the potential leader of a team, for example, Sivakov at Total Energy. I'm looking at UAE Team Emirates, and literally every single rider on that team has the yellow icon, so they're all leaders. Isaac Del Toro with 82 mountain, Joao Almeida with 80 mountain, and Jorgensen, twice winner of the race, against Visma Lease Bike's combination of Jonas Vingegaard and also Florian Lipovic, so what a race. And then there is cute little Dacia Sirocco for endurance with Ivan Romeo. For the lack of better words, I think we're That said, I'm hoping to be competitive in the versatile sprints with Kubish. I think that's our chance for a stage win. Anyway, stage 1 is a pure sprint with Tim Merlier as the favorite and his teammate Paul Magnier as second favorite. I'm hoping for a top 5 with Kubish. There we go, the race to the sun is on, +1 on Kubish, so 76 sprint. I can work with that. Anyway, as you can see, not much is happening in this stage, so why not do a bit of a story time? As most of you know, I am Belgian, but I actually live in the UK because my wife is from here. So basically, I live here on a spouse visa, which lasts 2.5 years and costs a lot of money. But at the moment, I'm coming to the end of my first 2.5 year visa of living here, so I need to extend it for another 2.5 years. But for some inexplicable reason, when you are going through a visa extension application process, you cannot leave the country. And that process for me will be in April, May, and June. So I was planning to do the Paris-Roubaix Sportif in France. I was planning to go to Prague to do L'Étape du Tour in Prague. I was planning to do lots of other events, outdoor cycling events, but I'm stuck here. I'm literally stuck here. But hey, I guess that just means more time to play Pro Cycling Manager. Anyway, in the last 30k of this sprint stage, and there's a few up and downs, but I don't expect gaps in this peloton, but I'll stay in position anyway. In the last 10 kilometers, one downhill there with about 3.54 kilometers to go, so I gotta keep that in mind. We've got Zach Erzen with 75 sprint stat, 80 acceleration as our lead out, so super strong today. 4.7k to go, UnoX absolutely flying on the right side of the road. Romeo's done for, so it's time for Serrano to take over into the downhill. I've got almost first position, so that is good. I'll launch myself right now. Energy Shell on Mr. Kubish way too late, so that's not great, but Edison looking fantastic for the lead out as we speak. Kubish in the wheel looking very good. Last kilometer, there goes Kubish. We've got a prominent position, but Merlier is faster, simply faster. Still a podium, I think. Beaten by Marijn van den Berg and Merlier, but a third place is very good, and we've got Romeo finishing in the peloton, so a perfect stage. Like I said, I was hoping for a top 5, so a podium place is even better. Great result. Anyway, stage 2 is once again a sprint stage, once again a flat one with Tim Merlier as the favorite, and of course I'm hoping for another podium with Lukáš Kubiš. Oh la la, look at the daily form on Lukáš Kubiš today, 76 sprint once again, fantastic. In the last 6.5 kilometers, Bellocchi is doing a fantastic turn. We've got Romeo ready to take over. Erzen with Energy Gel will wait a bit longer with Kubiš. Right now, we're cooking something up. Last 4.5 kilometers, Romeo's looking very fantastic. Serrano with plenty of energy, so let's wait. Let's go almost right now and wait a bit longer to sprint. Right now with Serrano to make sure we've got a bit of movement. Edison in the wheel before the corner right now already. Kubiš in that wheel is ready for the actual sprint. Come on. There goes Kubiš on the left side, Van Aert on the right side, but we are simply not that fast of a sprinter, so we're definitely losing against these guys. We're gonna be finishing somewhere in the top 10. Once again, the winner is Tim Merlier. Not exactly a surprise as the best sprinter at the start line, but Kubiš with a 9th place. I was hoping for a bit more. Okay then, next up is a 13.9 kilometer flat time trial with Wout van Aert as the favorite. Last year, Ivan Romeo was pretty fantastic at these time trials, but I haven't really seen it this year, but I'm still hoping for at least the top 5. That should definitely be possible. So, Spanish champion Romeo is on the road. A pretty simplistic time trial, so let's start off on 85. But on this climb, I will up it. Oh, snap. It just went to 70 for some reason. That is a bummer, because that will take away from our time trial up to 88.90 to try and spend some of that red bar on this climb. Now back down to 85, I reckon, for now. I feel like that's a bug that it sometimes switches to 70 when I scroll with my mouse. Anyway, first time check, third place at the moment on 13 seconds of Sheffield. In the last K, right here is the finish. Let's take a look. We get second place for now on 2 seconds of Sheffield. So that's a solid TT. I reckon that might be enough for a podium. And it turns out it is. Wout van Aert finishes third on 5 seconds, but Romeo in second place on 2 seconds of the winner, Sheffield riding for Picnic. And actually we're now in second place in GC on a single second of Wout van Aert. That is a pretty solid start to our Paris GC. But I'm kind of also just happy that Romeo did a great time trial because I was fearful that he might have lost his magic. But I reckon it's gonna be very difficult to keep our second place in GC on this stage 4. We've got a medium mountaintop finish on Chirouble with Jonas Vingegaard, Lenny Martinez, Del Toro, Sexas, Widar, Roglic. The list just keeps on going. With only 76 mountain, I'm simply hoping to survive. That said, we are starting with a +1 on the day, so 78 medium mountain. That's a bit better. By the way, I was wondering, you're watching this PCM series, but how many of you are also hardcore fans of the sport of cycling? Or are you just watching Pro Cycling Manager videos because you love the game? I'd love to hear your story in the comment section. Oh snap, crash in the peloton, Romeo is down, Bellocchi is down, we're back on the bike, so that is good, and Bellocchi can try and bring us back as soon as possible, but it's only at the start of the stage, so no real drama. There we go, back in the peloton. Anyway, in the last 30 kilometers right now, there's no breakaway left, the peloton's already down to 90 riders, so it's been a tough race, and the second last climb is starting the Montbrouilly, so quite a steep climb. I want to keep myself in position. The tempo on this climb was quite fast, but we're getting over the top in a pretty solid position, so that is nice. 20k to go, 1 climb left. Gotta say, it does look odd to have an intermediate sprint on the final climb. I don't really know how that's going to affect the race on Pro Cycling Manager. I'm kind of hoping that my competitors decide to go for that sprint and lose energy doing so, but anyway, the climb is starting. Chirouble, 7.5k, 6%, and the hardest part is the first half, so let's keep ourselves at the front. Visma Lease bike is setting tempo, Wout van Aert is still looking pretty solid, and I think he might survive. There goes Vingegaard already. 5 kilometers to go, we've got a bit of a gap for Jonas, but UAE is trying to make sure they can close that gap down. I'm trying to do my own tempo and keep myself within reach. Come on, Romeo, 3 kilometers to go, we're losing positions left and right. I'm trying to keep my red bar for the final stretch here, but we're not looking too fantastic. In the last kilometer pretty soon, Vingegaard is still in the group, so he did not get a gap. We are trying to move up meter by meter, but I don't think there will be time gaps, but we also won't be competitive for the stage when it's gonna be a UAE party right here. Almeida winning ahead of Jorgensen, McNulty also in the top 6. We've got Sexas in 3rd place, and we finish right here. Top 15 roughly? Like, on one end, I did want more action, but then again, a passive race is better for us, so this was solid. 17th place in the end, and the most important part is we did not lose any time outside of bonus seconds. And of course, due to those bonus seconds, we do drop to 3rd place, but still in the same time as Almeida. I feel like this race has been going pretty perfect for us, but the hardest stages are yet to come. Ooh, it's time for a sprint stage in Paris, so Tim Merlier is the favorite. But of course, I'd like to see our man Lukas Kubiš on the podium. Ambitious, but I think it's possible. That said, I was hoping for more than a 0 race day condition, so only 75 sprint, it's gonna be tough. Actually, I've got a pretty ballsy plan. There's an intermediate sprint with 15k to go on a climb, so what if I attack for that intermediate sprint with Romeo, for example, take the bonus seconds, and take the lead in GC. That said, if the sprinters go for that sprint, it will be tough. I reckon I'll try to smash it up this steep climb right now to try and thin down the peloton or at least stretch it out so that I can attack easier later with Romeo for that sprint. There we go, over the top with the entire team. We've got 14k before the sprint. Let's wait a bit longer. 6 kilometers to the sprint, I'm trying to keep the absolute front position and it is working right now, so no sprint trains forming. I think the climb starts in this corner, so 99 on Castellon. Let's make ready to pause. Right now, we've got Romeo launching right now, which I'm not sure it's gonna work, to be honest, but I'm gonna try it anyway. There goes Romeo. There we go. We've got Van den Berg, De Klein, Wout van Aert all trying to follow me, so this is gonna be an absolute disaster. Wout van Aert is gonna take bonus seconds because of me, I think. We're gonna try and launch our sprint, but there comes UnoX. What a failure. What a glorious failure. So we got 0 seconds, but I'm not sure how we got in this situation. Romeo is riding solo, half a minute in front of the peloton. I'm not sure how this happened, but I think we better pull him back because he's gonna run out of energy and he's not going anywhere. Yeah, he's gonna get caught. So Romeo, you gotta move back to the peloton. Otherwise, you're going to lose all your energy and drop from the peloton. We don't want that. Get in the wheel of Kubish and our sprint train is lined up. That said, Kubish is pretty badly positioned in the last 4 kilometers. So we gotta try and find a way to get to the front of the peloton right now. Let's go 99 on Serrano. Launch our sprint with him. Right now, why not? Erzen in the wheel, Kubish in that wheel, looking pretty solid, but we're gonna have to go early right now with Erzen, so this is gonna be a disaster, but we've got a gap on the others. Kubish goes, but I think the others will catch up. Yes, indeed, they're gonna fly past us. Merlier takes the victory once again or not. Marijn van den Berg tries to come around, it's close, but Merlier does take it. Kubish finishes maybe 12th, 13th, something like that, and there might be a gap there, but I don't think so. So Romeo is finishing in the peloton. Like, I had some fun in this stage, but in the end, the results are pretty meager. 13th place for Kubish, and the GC basically stays the same with Romeo in 3rd place. Hey, it was a sprint stage, so that's fine. Honestly, I think it's quite possible that we might be able to compete for this stage 6 because it looks to be a versatile sprint with a massive mountain in the middle, but I reckon Kubish might possibly survive that. That said, the favorite is Romain Grégoire with 82 hill stat. That's crazy. Ooh, I was a bit worried about the fact that Romeo has a -2 on the day, but it's not exactly negatively affecting his primary stats, so I don't think it's too bad. That said, a 0 day on Kubish means 67 mountain stat, 72 medium mountain, and 75 hill stat, which will be important for the final. But of course, the big question is, can he survive the big climb in the middle of the stage? Okay, 60k to go, and spoilers, Lukas Kubish is still in the peloton and survived it quite easily. Ooh, 26 kilometers to go, and there is still a breakaway of 10 riders up the road with breakaway god Magnus Cort Nielsen in here with a gap of 3 minutes and 40 seconds. I did not look at the breakaway until it is too late. I don't think I'll catch them. I am trying to fly up this climb, the last proper climb of the day, 2.5k only, but the gap is still 2 minutes 52, so this is not looking good. Honestly, last 12 kilometers, I might as well just go YOLO. There we go, team attack by... Oh, let's go to our first few riders here. Team attack by my entire team. Let's do 99 and try to work together. 15 to 20 seconds on a group led by Del Toro, but he's kind of sitting up. No, he is spacing together with La Pera, but we are dropping Castellon right now. Kubish and Romeo are off alone. Castellon can sit up right now on, let's say, 65. That's fine. We've got a gap of 30 seconds. This is pretty great. In the last 6.5 kilometers, and most of it is downhill, so Lukas Kubish is gonna try and shred this downhill with Romeo in the wheel, trying to recover as much as possible. 26 seconds on the peloton, a minute 30 to the front of the race, so we are not winning the stage, but we might be taking time in GC. Wout van Aert is desperately trying to attack towards us from the peloton, but Kubish is keeping him behind. 3 kilometers to go right now. The last climb is about to begin. Let's take a look. Shall we attack soon? No, I'll wait in the wheel of Kubish, who is launching from the bottom of this uphill. I don't care who wins the stage. We've got 20 seconds on Wout van Aert. There goes Romeo. Let's take some time in GC. Let's try to take the yellow jersey. At the front, we've got Mr. Paulus winning, but it's all about this man. It's all about Ivan Romeo. In the final kilometer, we've got a gap of 15 seconds. Van Aert is trying to get closer, but he won't be able to succeed. Kubish can sit up in the wheel. Romeo takes time on Wout van Aert, and I think we might take the lead in GC unless someone in the breakaway was closing GC. What a crazy final to the stage, by the way. That was awesome. There it is, Ivan Romeo on the podium of Paris-Nice with 16 seconds on Wout van Aert, 28 seconds on Joao Almeida in the beautiful Maillot Jaune. That is amazing. We tried getting the lead on the previous sprint stage, that failed gloriously, but on this this stage, we actually did it. The break won the stage, but I don't care. We have the lead. The question is, can we keep it? Like, we might be in that yellow jersey, but I'm absolutely terrified of this next mountain stage to La Colmian. We've got Jonas Vingegaard and lots of amazing climbers in this race, so Romeo is simply about to get destroyed. Like, I can pretend otherwise, but 74 mountain stat is simply not gonna be enough. But hey, we'll give it a try. Oh, actually, +2 on Romeo, so 77 mountain stat. Maybe it is possible. Like, it's a long climb, but it's not exactly the steepest, so I'm starting to believe. I was a bit scared about the fact that there's 14 riders in the breakaway and some pretty solid climbers in there as well, but in the peloton, it's Visma and UAE controlling, so I don't need to do anything. In the last 25 kilometers, the tempo on the flat is already quite high, so I've put myself on just 70 effort to try not to overextend before the climb even begins. But as you can see, the climb has officially begun now, 16.2 kilometers at 6%, so definitely not the steepest climb, but it's a long one, so we gotta make sure we manage our energy. And from the get-go, the tempo in the peloton goes up significantly, so we gotta make sure we can stay in the group without spending too much. Just over 10 kilometers to go, we're towards the back of the peloton now, and it's still a 60-man group. I gotta make sure I stay in the draft here, because again, not the steepest climb, so draft matters. In the last 5 kilometers right now, the peloton's down to 40 riders, but we are still here. Energygel on Castellon, our last domestique, but our yellow bar is not looking too fantastic. One attack by Jonas and we're done for. Riders are dropping like flies and the tempo in the peloton has dropped down significantly, but Carapaz is done for. Jonas is now pacing. Let's do 85. Come on, Romeo. Last 3 kilometers, we don't have enough to do 85. We simply can't do that. We have to do our own tempo, but Jonas is pushing and it is literally slaughtering our GC chances. Castellon off the back. It's now solo for Romeo, but the gap is 40 seconds here, so GC in the bin for us, sadly. Jonas attacks. The final blow in the last kilometer is gonna win on La Colmian quite easily. There he is, but Romeo is struggling in the final kilometer. Got some red bar left, so I'm gonna try and spend it towards the finish line here, but it's gonna be around a minute. Yeah. That's a sad outcome, but it's the best we could do. Like, when you're in yellow, you're always hoping to follow the big guns on climbs like this, but the reality is, Romeo is not that guy. He's not him. So yeah, a 9th place on the stage means still on the podium actually. We dropped 2 positions. Joao Almeida is now in the lead of the race. On 50 seconds is Romeo, just 4 seconds ahead of Lenny Martinez. And I reckon we can defend that podium on the final stage. Gotta say, a podium at Paris-Nice would be a far better outcome than I expected. Okay then, that brings us to the final stage, a versatile sprint stage at Paris-Nice with Jonas Vingegaard as the favorite? Like, if you're asking me, I think Lukáš Kubíš is gonna smoke everyone here. So, in the last 12k of Paris-Nice, on the climb as we speak, Castellon is leading the team right now on the right side of the road in a sprint train formation with Kubíš at the back of our train in the wheel of Romeo for this one. In the last 5 kilometers, leading out Kubíš quite well right now with lots of riders still in our train, maybe a bit too many, but Energygel on literally everyone. Let's do that. Ramos can take over pretty soon. We spend so much red energy on Kubíš there. That might not be the best idea. 3.4 kilometers. Laurence is going. I'll launch with Serrano right now. That might not be smart, but I'm doing it anyway. Bellocchi can launch as well. Romeo is also ready to launch pretty soon at 1 point whenever necessary. There we go. Kubíš in the wheel. I think this might be ours. Kubíš launches, but Vingegaard, Adria still looking good when it comes to his position, but Kubíš has the lead. Is he gonna win though? That is the question. Laurence tries to come around. Adria comes around and takes the stage. Ay. I was maybe a little bit too confident before the stage. Definitely not the victory I was hyping up. Johnny Narvaez is the winner of the stage in the Ecuadorian jersey, but we finished 6th place, which it's fine. I was expecting better though. But more importantly, Almeida wins GC and Ivan Romeo finishes 3rd in Paris-Nice, so that's a fantastic result. I am really happy with that. And I think outside of today's versatile sprint, we played this race relatively perfectly because Romeo was doing fantastically in the first 4 stages, tried to survive the mountain stage, but stayed on the podium, and we defended that. But there's one downside though, no World Tour stage win yet. But in the next episode, we're taking on Tirreno Adriatico with Lorenzo Fin, so let's try and win something there. Anyway, that is for next time. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye!